Keyshawn Hall has somehow gone from playing for the Miami Heat in NBA Summer League to becoming one of the biggest remaining names in college basketball, and his decision could completely change the outlook of whichever program lands him. Hall entered the NBA draft after a huge season at Auburn, went undrafted and played 5 Summer League games with Miami. It looked like his college career was finished, and his next step would be fighting for a professional contract. Then, everything changed. Hall was one of the players who received temporary relief through a preliminary injunction in Ohio, challenging how the NCAA introduced its new age-based eligibility system. That ruling gave him a path to play a 5th college season and explore the transfer market, even though most teams completed their rosters and spent most of their NIL money months ago. That timing is what makes this so unusual. Teams are normally searching for final bench pieces in late July. They're not expecting a 23-year-old forward who averaged 19.3 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 2.6 assists in the SEC to suddenly become available. Hall also shot nearly 38% from 3 and almost 86% from the free throw line at Auburn. He earned third-team SEC honors, helped the Tigers win the 2026 NIT championship, and made the NIT All-Tournament team. He finished with 694 points, the 5th highest single-season total in Auburn history, and set the school record with 228 made free throws. His resume goes well beyond Auburn. He earned All-Conference Second Team and Big 12 All-Newcomer Team honors at UCF, along with NABC All-Southeast District Second Team recognition. At George Mason, he earned Second Team Atlantic 10 and NABC First Team All-District honors. Hall became an all-conference player in 3 different leagues. He went from averaging a little more than 5 points as a freshman at UNLV to 16.6 at George Mason, 18.8 at UCF, and 19.3 at Auburn. Every time the competition improved, his production increased. That is why programs are interested. Hall can shoot with a quick trigger, attack slower forwards off the dribble, and overpower smaller defenders. He gets downhill, creates contact, and constantly reaches the free throw line. He is strong, athletic, experienced, and capable of making smart passes when help comes. The question is not whether Hall is talented. The question is which program can offer him the correct mix of minutes, money, winning, and a role that improves his professional future. Kentucky, Kansas, and Arkansas all contacted Hall when he transferred from UCF before he chose Auburn. Arizona reportedly made contact during this current process. Other programs such as Louisville, Wisconsin, and Ohio State make sense, but there has not been the same level of public confirmation connecting them to Hall. Kentucky may offer the best overall combination. Mark Pope still has room to make a late addition and has been patient instead of using his final spot on a player who would not change the team. Hall would change it. He would give Kentucky one of the most proven offensive power forwards in the country. The positional fit is important. Milan Momcilovic is Kentucky's small forward and should remain at the 3. Kentucky's current power forwards are Ousmane Ndiaye and Justin McBride. Hall would make that room crowded, but Kentucky should not be scared of having too many playable forwards. Pope wants to use a deep rotation. Ideally, he does not want his best players constantly playing 34 or 35 minutes. He wants to keep them fresh, play with pace, and use different lineups. He has not been able to fully coach that way during his first 2 seasons because injuries repeatedly destroyed his depth. Jackson Robinson suffered a season-ending wrist injury, Kerr Kriisa needed foot surgery, Lamont Butler battled injuries, Jalen Lowe played only 9 games, Jaden Quaintance played only 4, Cam Williams broke his foot, returned late in the season, then needed another procedure after his recovery stalled during the summer. Kentucky had a healthy roster for only 5 of its 57 high-major games during Pope's first 2 seasons. That makes depth protection not a problem. Hall would still get his minutes. A player this proven is not coming to Kentucky to sit at the end of the bench. He could realistically play at least 22 to 25 minutes on normal nights and move toward 28 or more in the biggest SEC and NCAA tournament games. He could play beside Milan Momcilovic, giving Kentucky two large forwards who can shoot. When Hall's defender closes out, he can attack the paint. When the defense helps, he can make the simple pass. If Kentucky's normal offense breaks down, Pope would have another player capable of creating a shot or drawing a foul. Kentucky could also help Hall professionally. NBA teams already know he can score with high usage. At Kentucky, he could prove that he can defend, rebound, pass, and remain efficient without controlling every possession. He could still average 14 to 16 points while playing a more complete role on a contender.
Kansas may be the strongest alternative. Bill Self could potentially offer Hall a starting job and a larger share of the offense. Kansas has talented young players, including Tyron Stokes and Talon Kinney, but Hall could become the older forward who settles the team when the younger players struggle. Self would likely use him as a mismatch scorer and late clock option. Hall could punish switches, draw fouls, and bring experience to a roster that may need someone who has already produced in the Big 12 and SEC. The challenge is that Kansas would not simply hand him the ball every possession. Hall would still have to share touches, defend, and work within self-structure. But the minutes, national attention, and chance to win would all be there. Arkansas is another real option because it was involved during Hall's last recruitment. John Calipari has built a roster with a lot of young talent, and Hall would bring something different. He would be an older SEC scorer who could calm the offense when the freshmen are inconsistent. Hall could start or become the first forward off the bench and play major minutes. Arkansas may even offer him a larger offensive role than Kentucky. The question is whether Calipari wants to add a 23-year-old high-usage forward to a team built heavily around young NBA prospects. The talent fit is obvious. The roster philosophy may be less certain. Louisville is one of the most interesting possible fits. Pat Kelsey plays fast, recruits aggressively through the portal, and values forwards who can attack from the perimeter. Hall's strength and downhill scoring would give Louisville another player capable of creating offense when the guards are pressured. The Cardinals already have a deep roster, so Hall would need a clear explanation of his role. But if Louisville can offer him around 25 minutes and enough touches, the combination of Hall and Ryan Conwell would give the Cardinals two proven physical scorers. There would also be a major rivalry angle if Kentucky and Louisville both became serious. Hall could become the player who changes the balance between the two programs before the season even begins. Arizona made contact, but reporting around that situation suggested Hall was not likely to end up there unless something changed. The basketball fit is easy to understand. Arizona has been searching for another power forward option, and Hall has the strength, rebounding, and shooting to play that position immediately. Wisconsin is another program worth watching because Greg Gard has discussed the eligibility lawsuits and the possibility of players becoming available late. Hall could fit Wisconsin's half-court offense because he can create his own shot, post smaller defenders, and draw fouls. Wisconsin could potentially offer Hall a very large role, but its slower style would be completely different from what he experienced at Auburn, and the Badgers would need to convince him that their offense could still display his full game. Ohio State is a logical sleeper because Hall is from Cleveland. There has not been confirmed public reporting that Ohio State is currently recruiting him, but the hometown connection would be powerful. The Buckeyes could sell Hall on returning to Ohio, becoming one of the faces of the team and playing a major role in the Big Ten. If Hall values comfort, family access, and a clear offensive role, Ohio State would deserve consideration. There will probably be more schools involved behind the scenes because very few players this productive become available this late. Programs such as Cincinnati, Baylor, Memphis, USC, or NC State could decide Hall is worth changing their plans for. But any school pursuing him must have real minutes, real money, and a clear basketball role available immediately. Hall's decision should not simply come down to whichever program promises him the most shots. He has already proven he can average close to 20 points. What he has not proven is that he can lower his usage, improve defensively, and help a top team reach the Final Four. That is why Kentucky still feels like the best choice.
Kansas may offer more shots. Arkansas may offer a veteran featured role. Louisville may offer a strong combination of freedom and exposure. Arizona may have a clear opening at power forward. Wisconsin and Ohio State could offer larger roles. Kentucky offers Hall the chance to add the one thing missing from his resume, a deep NCAA tournament run on one of the biggest stages in college basketball. He would get his minutes, he would get opportunities to close games. He would play in a system built around shooting, quick decisions, and attacking advantages. He would also join an old physical roster similar to the type of experienced team Michigan used to win the national championship. Hall has already collected third-team SEC, All-Big 12 second team, Big 12 All-Newcomers team, second-team All-Atlantic 10, 2 NABC All-District selections, an NIT championship, and NIT All-Tournament honors. Now he has to decide how he wants his college career to end. Does he want another season as the clear first option, or does he want to become the final piece for a national championship contender? My prediction is that Kentucky and Kansas make the most sense, with Arkansas and Louisville right behind them. But if Mark Pope seriously wants Hall and can show him a real 22 to 28-minute role, Kentucky should be extremely difficult to turn down.